Hi there, everyone. Here's some of what's heading your way tonight. Your news at 9.
The number of COVID-19 cases continues to increase as the summer gets into full swing. I'm Zach Dodge with the story.
NATO allies issue warnings to Russia and China ahead of President Biden's meeting with Vladimir Putin. I'm Benjamin Hall in Brussels with all the details coming up.
Plus, some American flags are properly retired during a ceremony today in Joplin, today being National Flag Day. Doug Heddy has weather. Danny Terzer has sports. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Abbey. One person is dead, 4 others seriously injured after a crash in Jasper County. Happened yesterday on Kafer Road and north of Oronogo. The Missouri State Highway Patrol says a minivan was going east when it went off the right side of the road, back over the center line, overcorrected, then hit a tree. Victor Alexandrios from Carthage was killed, 4 others seriously injured. The crash report says Alexandrios was wearing a seatbelt. Meteorologist Doug Heddy joining us now with the first look at the forecast. Thank goodness for AC, man.
Yeah, it's been hot. Really over about the past week, it's been pretty hot and pretty humid across the region. At least the humidity a little bit better for us today. We didn't have those high heat indices across the region, but our actual temperature up to 92, average high is 86, record 103, set back in 1953, but not too much going on. We have some mid and upper level clouds that are kind of dropping through, mixed for a nice sunset outside right now. But besides that, we're dry. We are watching this big ridge of high pressure out to our west, and that's really going to dominate our weather as we go through the next several days. So of course, here in just a bit, we'll break down and take a look at this week in just a bit.
Doug Heddy, see you in a little bit. Thank you so much. COVID-19 cases across 4 states are on the rise in most counties and away. KOAM's Zach Dodge has a breakdown of what counties have risen the most and why health officials think this may be happening.
As the temperature continues to increase, so do the number of COVID cases in the 4 states.
From May 3rd to the first week of June, we saw a 35 case uptick.
Now Cherokee County, Kansas is up to 40 active cases. Crawford County saw a 20 case increase at the beginning of June, and it goes across state lines.
In Ottawa County, there are 41 active cases currently.
But the biggest increases come when you cross into southwest Missouri. Jasper County has seen the highest increase, going from 9 on May 14th to 89. Newton County has gone from 25 to 47 in the same period. Joplin has gone from 6 cases to 70, and around 50 people are hospitalized in Joplin hospitals.
The increase in the case numbers is cause for concern.
The big question is why, and there may be a few different things that are all contributing together.
We did see a little bit of a break, and that may have created some sense of security for folks.
There's the potential for the case rates to go up due to various variants that have been reported. I think the important thing to note is that vaccine still remains effective.
Now, it's not all bad news. Some counties like Barton and Vernon counties are still in the low single digits, and Wilson County, Kansas has had 0 cases for the last 10 days. But officials do say that if you haven't been vaccinated yet, there's no time like the present.
If numbers continue to climb, we don't want to take a step back and move back into restrictions and things like that. And the more people we can get vaccinated, the less likely that is to happen.
Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
If you want to learn how and where you can get your COVID-19 vaccine, we have that along with more case numbers on our website. More vaccines are on the way, with Novavax announcing a 90% effective rate for its candidate, but it's still unclear if a still skeptical public will sign up for their shots. Fox News correspondent David Lee Miller has more now from New York City.
Infections, hospitalizations, and deaths due to COVID-19 are now at their lowest point since March of 2020. But the pandemic isn't over yet, and a new vaccine could soon be available to help contain it. Novavax releasing data from its large-scale U.S. study showing strong effectiveness against the virus, especially the many COVID variants now spreading across the country.
Overall, we had 90% efficacy, which is very high, particularly at a time when there are many variants circulating. In fact, mostly variants circulating during the trial.
The announcement comes as the pace of vaccines is slowing. We're averaging about 1 million shots a day in the U.S., down from a peak of more than 3.3 million. Cities and states are now creating even more incentives, including a new referral bonus program here in New York. Community groups getting a donation of up to $100 for every person they sign up for a shot.
They're going to use their reach to bring people in. They're going to get rewarded for it in a way that will then put resources back in the community.
The climbing vaccination rate prompting more Americans to get out and about. The FAA says on Friday they screened more than 2 million people, the most in a single day since the outbreak started. But they're also reminding travelers it's still possible to bring the virus home, even if you're vaccinated.
Only 50% of your trips start at your home airport. So when people are traveling, it's important to know what's happening at the city that you're returning from.
The TSA says they're screening about 75% more passengers than at the same time last year. In New York, David Lee Miller, Fox News.
President Biden continued his visit to Europe on Monday with a visit to NATO, the 30-country alliance, discussing the growing threat of Russia and China. Fox News correspondent Benjamin Hall has more.
NATO stands together. That's how we've met every other threat in the past.
President Biden reaffirmed the United States' commitment to NATO on Monday. His comments came after a meeting with NATO countries where they addressed climate-related security challenges and the growing threat of Russia and China.
We're facing a once-in-a-century global health crisis. At the same time, the democratic values that undergird our alliance are under increasing pressure, both internally and externally. Russia and China are both seeking to drive a wedge in our transatlantic solidarity.
In a lengthy message, NATO allies called on Russia to drop its designation of the US and Czech Republic as, quote, unfriendly countries. They also committed to provide funding for the Kabul airport and troop withdrawal in Afghanistan. As for China, the alliance declared the country as a global security challenge.
Leaders agreed that we need to address such challenges together as an alliance, and that we need to engage with China to defend our security interests.
Monday's summit is one of several meetings leading up to President Biden's sit-down with Vladimir Putin on Wednesday in Geneva. The two are expected to discuss recent cyber attacks against American companies. The Russian leader dismissing allegations Russia was behind the attacks.
We know it well. We have been accused of all kinds of things, election interference, cyber attacks, and so on and so forth.
Tomorrow, President Biden will participate in the first US-EU summit since 2014. In Brussels, Benjamin Hall, Fox News.
Today is Flag Day. Joplin's American Legion Post 13 conducted a flag retirement ceremony this evening right there. It took place at Memorial Hall in Joplin with several flags being properly retired. As we're seeing, the ceremony calls for burning the American flags in a dignified manner and respectfully burying the ashes.
The flags represent our country, and they have a lot of honor in them. And as you get ready to retire them, they have to be done professionally and done correctly so that they are actually incinerated and not just thrown away.
Boy Scouts helped the American Legion with today's flag retirement ceremony. National Flag Day, by the way, commemorates the adoption of the United States flag back in 1777. KOAM News at 9 and Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another four-state hero. Robert Rader Sr. served in the U.S. Army and Navy from 1943 to 45. Native of Joplin, Rader was part of an aviation unit, earning several awards. We are proud to thank Robert Rader Sr. He's tonight's four-state hero. Doug Heddy's up next with a complete look at the forecast, and later in sports, a four-states racing legend has passed away. We're going to look back at the legacy he leaves behind.
Definitely another hot one for us today. Right back up into the 90s for highs, as we've actually had a pretty good stretch of heat over the past week or so. You can look at our month so far. We started off cold. It was 65 for a high on June 1st, and then 73, and then we hit the 80s. So pretty close to where we should be. And then since last Tuesday, we have been above our average high, and that's going to continue as we go through the next several days. Temperatures are going to stay up there. Great time lapse. This is Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo's just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Looks great. We had quite a bit of sunshine throughout the daytime hours. A nice shot of the sun setting very recently, of course, indigo. And looks like we're going to have pretty much clear skies as we go through the overnight hours tonight. All right, zooming in, look at our high temps today. Everybody across the board, mainly into lower 90s. The good thing about today was we didn't really have the humidity. We had the high humidity over the weekend, but today it just felt like 92, 93 degrees. And our temperatures have dropped off a little bit over the past couple hours. 78 in Nevada, 79 Neosho, 79 Miami, Pittsburgh sitting at 78, 80 in Neodesha. But our humidity is going to start to creep up just a bit over the next couple days. You can see our dew points. Most of us are sitting into the mid 60s right now. So if we look at our dew point tracker, it's sticky. It's just not soupy out there. But our humidity will start to rise once again as we go into Tuesday, Wednesday, and of course the rest of the week. Nice shot. 7th and Rangeline currently outside, sitting at 77. Winds are pretty much calm. Pressure is steady. Humidity climbs at night as we get closer to that dew point, but there's nothing really going on. We have a few little clouds which have been sneaking through over the past couple hours, but we're mainly dry. There was a random sprinkle or two on the Kansas side earlier this evening. Besides that, nothing is going on. We have this huge ridge of high pressure, so it sends the jet stream way up into Canada, and the end result for us, we stay hot and we don't get any big storm systems. We get these little weak waves that rotate around the ridge of high pressure, but until it breaks down, we're not going to have any big changes. Here's Wednesday, still high pressure. Thursday into Friday, we get a system across the northern parts of the plains. This will change our weather up just a bit as we get some tropical moisture in. We'll have better chances for rain and our temperatures will back off a bit by the time we head into the weekend. Still going to be fairly hot though. Tonight looks fine, mid 60s. Here's your day planner for you. Starting at 66 during the morning hours, we're going to see plenty of sunshine all day long. Quick warm up, 85 by noon, then a high temp right around 93 as we go into the afternoon hours. Plus, on top of that, our temperatures rise into the mid 90s. By the time we head into Wednesday, there is a slight chance we could get a random shower popping up late Wednesday, and then a little better chance as we head into Thursday, Friday, and then also the weekend. But temps are up there, 93 tomorrow, 94 on Wednesday, 96s on Thursday and Friday. A little bit cooler as we head into Father's Day weekend, but still those thunderstorm chances sticking around.
Yeah, 90, 90, 90, 90, 90.
Yeah, it's going to be a hot summer.
It is. All right, Doug Heddy, thank you. Well, the pandemic seemingly shut down the world overnight, creating distance between many people and their loved ones. But as Fox News' Chris DeMeo explains, COVID-19 has created additional problems and confusion for kids in foster care, with coronavirus restrictions keeping kids in state custody and away from their parents longer than originally intended.
I would like to go back to my family and not be bothered again.
I want to go back to my family. For many foster kids, this is a simple request packed with tons of emotion as the pandemic continues creating setbacks for children already facing vulnerable situations like being placed in state custody.
I don't think anybody knew what to do in a pandemic.
The coronavirus put the world on pause, delaying many things, one of which being court hearings that would potentially reunite families and remove kids out of the foster care system.
I get to see her when I get to see her. We don't know. The courts are shut down. We have no answers.
According to data collected by the Associated Press, roughly 23,000 fewer kids were reunited with their families last year when compared to 2019. On the other hand, the coronavirus also prevented many kids from having face-to-face meetings with their families, forcing them to engage online because of the risk of spreading the virus.
That's been challenging in so many ways because children couldn't hug their parents, they couldn't be close to them and have that reassuring presence.
For guardians with young children, many had to watch them grow up through a screen.
You miss out on everything. First steps, first words, first facial expression.
Meanwhile, officials also say the pandemic kept fewer kids from being adopted during 2020, driving down those numbers by at least 23%. Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
Coming up, recent shootings.
An uptick in city violence comes just as businesses see an uptick in traffic. I'm Madeline Rivera in Washington with more on the challenges facing cities over a year into the pandemic. That's coming up.
If you think June's been hot, energy partner.
A rash of mass shootings in cities across the country, including several this past weekend, is raising alarm. especially as Americans emerge from lockdown and businesses try to reopen, lure people back. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera is in Washington with more on the latest uptick in violence sweeping the country and what's being done.
In downtown Austin, Texas, an area known for its fun nightlife became a gathering for emergency personnel and police officers Saturday after shots were fired into a crowd, killing at least one and hurting several others.
This is one of the more significant incidents that we have ever had happen in our city.
It's one of multiple violent incidents that broke out across the country over the weekend. In Chicago, at least one person was fatally shot and several more hurt after a mass shooting on the city's south side. And a similar scene in Georgia, where a shooting in Savannah has left at least one man dead and many others recovering.
It's disturbing and it's senseless.
The spike in crime is raising alarm for city officials and local business owners who are looking to welcome back crowds and customers this summer as COVID-19 restrictions relax.
How can we expect people to want to frequent us and support us when we can barely keep ourselves safe?
As police prepare for a busy season, law enforcement officials say communities should work together to curb the violence.
The high numbers of crime and violence throughout the country is out of control, and we need to start doing all we can to attract, train, and retain the best and brightest.
Saturday marked 5 years since 49 people were killed in the Pulse nightclub massacre in Florida. President Biden used the moment to call for the Senate to pass gun legislation to address what he calls a public health epidemic of gun violence. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
Just ahead, a family summer tradition.
Summer camps are making a comeback this season, signaling a return to normalcy for many families. I'm Ashley Strohmeyer with more on the concerns many are facing as they prepare for kids to safely have fun in the sun. That's coming up.
For the millions of kids who missed out on summer camp last year, this summer is offering them the chance to make up for missed time. Same goes for the camping industry itself as it tries to make up for the more than $4 billion worth of lost wages from last season. But as Fox News correspondent Ashley Strohmeyer learns, there's still several concerns standing in the way before campers can have fun in the sun.
Making sure that these kids can have a little fun, raise a little hell.
This summer is starting to look a lot different from the last, as summer camps are now allowed to operate in all 50 states.
More than anything else, it's a sign that things are getting back to normal.
But before kids can experience all the fun,
fly lines, you have mountain scooters, the waterfront's huge.
Officials are combating several major concerns. For starters, before anyone can go to camp, there needs to be ample staff to help run the facilities. But with many camps typically hiring college-age students for seasonal employment, some are still struggling to find workers as the pandemic shut down recruiting events across many campuses this year. And so far, with 12-year-olds being the youngest age group cleared to receive Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine, how to handle children who aren't yet vaccinated remains up in the air.
I don't think it makes sense to take non-vaccinated children and put them in a different group. I feel like that might not be in the spirit of camp.
What is clear is that some campers can still expect to follow COVID-19 safety measures, no matter their vaccine status.
We're lucky 99% of our activities are outside. If they were indoors before, they'll be outside now.
And although the CDC has said camps where everyone is fully vaccinated won't need face masks and social distancing, many camps are expected to still require these practices while even operating at reduced capacity. Ashley Strohmeyer, Fox News.
Gonna check out the return of a summer favorite for many, the rosé berries. Driscoll's, the company best known for its strawberries, is bringing back a limited edition item with a summer twist. The company announced they once again are selling limited edition rosé strawberries and raspberries at a number of retailers nationwide. Look closely at them. The rosé raspberries first up. First unveiled 2 summers ago, are light pink, mimicking the color you would see in a glass of rosé without actually containing any alcohol. I'll say that again just in case if you're wondering. These don't have alcohol, okay? Scientists haven't figured out how to do that naturally yet. Meanwhile, the company says the strawberries contain a, quote, smooth, silky, creamy texture that delivers a sweet, peachy flavor paired with a soft floral finish. Driscoll's Driscoll's says the fruity combination has been in the works now for nearly 2 decades. I'd give them a try. This sounds interesting anyway. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming away. The Miami Housing Authority hosting a training session for people looking to rent property, going over rights and responsibilities. Also, a unique funeral procession in Joplin for a man who loved unique cars. Tomorrow, the Miami Housing Authority is going to be hosting a rental housing rights, responsibility, and remedies training class. The course is open to landlords and tenants in Miami and the surrounding area. KOM's Bronte Sorotsky spoke with the Housing Authority and tenants to share the importance of staying up to date on the latest housing laws.
For anyone renting property, it's key to know what you can and can't do, whether you're a landlord or a tenant.
We just felt that it was important to educate people on the newest updates for fair housing and for the Landlord Tenant Act of Oklahoma.
On Wednesday, the Miami Housing Authority will team up with the Tulsa Area Fair Housing Partnership to ensure residents are up to date on their rights when it comes to housing in the state.
Miami just really needs to be have some education for their landlords as well as for the tenants about fair housing and about Landlord Tenant Act and what they can expect from both of those things.
Housing Authority officials say it's been some time since residents have received an update.
There hasn't been any training for quite a while, and the city itself of Miami is really trying to upgrade their housing that's available for people in rentals. And so with us, with the Housing Authority, we're kind of trying to partner with them in bringing better education about that to the city.
The Housing Authority hopes that by having an event like this, they can draw on more landlords to meet their needs for subsidized housing while also educating them on their rights.
Hopefully, this will get people to want to participate in the subsidy program, and we'll get some more good landlords that want to participate in that. There's not enough houses for our tenants to rent in Miami.
Brenda Sears, a tenant in Miami, says having more education on housing rights would benefit everyone.
Yes, I think there needs to be more education on it, so people know what Miami does have to offer in the housing situation here, because a lot of people don't know.
In Miami, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
The rental housing rights, responsibilities, and remedies training is going to take place tomorrow at the E Street Plaza Safe Room in Miami from 10 a.m. to noon. We may have seen several hot rods and old school cars in general in a procession in Joplin today. They were part of a funeral procession for 58-year-old Virgil Orrin Burr Jr. He passed away suddenly last Tuesday. Among his last wishes, not a hearse, but a hot rod for his final ride, as we're seeing other drivers with hot rods paid their respects. Some area kids today got a lesson on horses and ranching. The Trinity Circle Horses Healing Hearts Riding School in Goodman, Missouri hosted a summer program with the Eastern Shawnee tribe where kiddos can learn how to take care of horses. Very important, right? Some of the lessons included setting up a saddle, using proper safety gear, and riding itself. Officials say the kids seem to be really enjoying the program. I would too. Hey, the Sarcoxie, Missouri archery team returned home today after becoming world champs on 3D targets. The championship was in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina over the weekend. When the team got back to Sarcoxie, they were treated to a police and fire department escort, which became a makeshift parade. Congratulations, guys. Awesome accomplishment. Well, today marks a new era in Israeli politics. A narrow vote over the weekend ousting long-serving Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu from power. And as Fox News correspondent Trey Yingst reports from Jerusalem, he's not going out quietly.
Israel's new government is getting to work. A day after sweeping changes to its parliament unseated Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, ending his historic 12 years of service in the role. Naftali Bennett, a one-time ally of Netanyahu, was elected to become the country's next prime minister in a razor-thin 60-59 vote. The 49-year-old immediately sworn into office.
To uphold the values of the State of Israel and its laws, to wholeheartedly fulfill the duties of Prime Minister.
This shifting 71-year-old Netanyahu into the role of opposition leader, saying he was cheated out of power. The The longtime leader showed no signs of backing down, vowing to oust the newly seated governing coalition.
We have a strong opposition, united and strong, to topple this dangerous left-wing government. The fraud government will fall quickly.
He's going to be very aggressive, very assertive, and his main goal was to make sure that this government is a very, very short-lived one.
Israel's new government will not only be challenged by Netanyahu, it will also face pressure on the global stage, especially when it comes to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and the Iranian-American agreement. Bennett opposes efforts to restore the international nuclear deal with Iran. And in his outgoing speech, Netanyahu blasted President Biden for his plan to return to the understandings.
A prime minister in Israel must be capable of saying no to the United States president on matters that endanger our existence, and to back that up with massive action in the Congress, the Senate, and in public opinion in the great democracy which is the United States.
President Biden called Bennett Sunday night to congratulate him and pledge his ongoing support to strong U.S.-Israeli ties. In Jerusalem, Trey Yingst, Fox News.
A bit later, trying to make sure what you buy is the real deal.
Fake designer bags, counterfeit watches, even fake COVID tests. Criminals are trying to get their counterfeit products into the country. But coming up, we'll show you how federal officers are putting a stop to the shipment of fake goods here at the port in Newark, New Jersey.
Well, it turned out to be a pretty good day for us today. The humidity a little bit lower across the region. Still hot, still humid, but the humidity is not way up there where it just feels gross outside. But temperatures have been hot, and if we look back at this month so far, we're about halfway done. Cold start. Remember coming out of Memorial Weekend, it was a very cold Memorial Weekend. Then we get into the 80s, 90s over the past week. We're going to stay in the 90s as we head through the next several days, but at least we're getting pretty good weather. Great time lapse. This is Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo, just outside of Seneca, Missouri, but mostly sunny skies throughout the daytime hours for us today. In fact, let's zoom in. Look at our highs. Most of us 90 to about 92 degrees across the entire four-state area. We have dropped off a bit, still warm. It's going to stay warm for us tonight. 77 in Welch, 83 still in Chanute. Pitt 76, Neosho 78, Carthage is sitting at 78 degrees. And our humidity, it always goes up at night, but it hasn't been that high for us over the past couple days. Dew points are sitting into the mid 60s, low to mid 60s. So we're kind of in that not bad to sticky range, but we are going to creep back up into that soupy range by the time we head into later on in the work week this week. Outside right now, currently sitting at 77. Winds are pretty much calm. Humidity is at 71%. And we have pretty much clear skies. We have a little batch of clouds that have dropped through, but nothing underneath the clouds. Nothing is going on here. It looks pretty calm, at least over the next couple days. In fact, out to the west, nothing is going on. This is due to a big dome of high pressure. You can see the clockwise circulation sends the jet stream way up to the north. The end result of this is we stay hot, we stay mainly dry, and we can't get any big storm systems in here, and that's just not really going to occur, at least any big storm systems over the next 5 or 6 days. We do get these weak little waves that kind of rotate around the ridge and give us occasionally some pop-up showers and thunderstorms, very summer-like pattern as we go through the next week. Eventually, we'll get a system in here, at least the northern parts of the plains, toward the weekend. That's going to give us better chances for showers and even a few thunderstorms. Also cool us back down at least just a little bit. Mid 60s tonight. So here's your day planner for you tomorrow. If you're getting up early, 66 in the morning, quick warm up through the 60s, 70s, 85 by noon, high temp up to about 93 as we go into the afternoon hours. So it's going to be hot, mainly dry tomorrow. Tomorrow night looks pretty good. We'll get a few clouds in here, and then on Wednesday we could get a few isolated pop-up thunderstorms during the afternoon. That's just a very slim shot on Wednesday, but those chances go up a bit Thursday and Friday. Heat indices tomorrow still not awful, mid 90s, but they'll creep up above 100 by Thursday. 93 tomorrow, 94 Wednesday, 96 on Thursday, 96 on Friday, but those chances for thunderstorms increasing into the weekend.
Tonight, anyway, it's a nice cool down out there.
Yeah, mid 60s.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It is. Okay, thank you. Coming up in sports, Cars and Royals both open up series at home tonight. Plus, a look at a local racing legend's lasting impacts on the community. Danny Terzer has it all next.
Fox 14.
Scotty Bittner, fondly known for his car and racing expertise, passed away last week. We took a look at his legacy and long-lasting impact on the community.
The things people were posting, they were saying, he's a legend, he's the sweetest, the nicest man, he helped so many people, he helped preserve the history of the community.
That's Scotty Bittner, a lifelong car enthusiast, entrepreneur, and champion racer. He passed away last week at the age of 83.
Every time I seen him, he had a smile on his face and made me smile. Some people are just like that.
Bittner touched the lives of many. He loved to share his vast knowledge and passion for cars with others. Early on in his career, Bittner worked for Bill Lemon at his car lot.
That's where the McDonald's is now. That's Quincy and Broadway. But see, it was a friendly auto mart back then. College kids would come in there, and Bill would say, go out and talk to Scotty, he'll tell you about it. And 50 years later, we've heard from some of those kids who are now adults, and they would come in and say, you don't know how much it meant to me, what you taught me or what I learned from you.
Bittner is also remembered for his achievements behind the wheel.
Scotty raced everywhere. He raced Springfield, Joplin, Nevada, Neosho, and a lot of local tracks like that.
Bittner also raced and won at the 69 Speedway in Pittsburgh, Kansas.
It was located where the Home Depot store is now.
And then co-operated it in its final 2 years.
He took a racetrack that was struggling, made it successful.
It's always fun to read all of these. They're talking about the thrill-packed racing program ever to hit Pittsburgh.
Cars were a part of every stage of his life. He opened Bittner Motors, now run by his son Mike, and in retirement, he opened Scotty's Classic Cars, a museum that ran for 12 years. On the day it closed, Bittner saw an outpouring of support.
We were going to kind of keep count, and we quit counting at 700 people. People were standing in line to wait to come up to him. I think that was probably one of the most emotional days for him, where he really saw what a role he had played in helping so many people around the area.
I run into his name repeatedly as I do historical records for racing. They remember that Bittner guy from Pittsburgh.
The love for cars and racing spans multiple generations in the Bittner family, beginning with Joe Bittner, Scotty's dad, and continuing on with Mike Bittner, Scotty's son. In Major League Baseball, St. Louis returns home today, looking for a fresh start against Miami. The Cardinals have just 2 wins in the month of June. Series opener tonight, a good one in St. Louis. Cardinals tied up at 2 in the 5th off a Paul Goldschmidt single that scores Tommy Edman. Kansas City hosting a division series against Detroit starting today. An opportunity here to pick up some wins against the struggling Tigers. Detroit dominating though, it's 7-2 in the 6th. Royals runs scored by Edward Olivares and Whit Merrifield. Back with more news after this.
You might be buying fakes when it comes to your favorite products. U.S. Customs and Border Protection is partnering with U.S. Chamber of Commerce to crack down on those counterfeit goods. Fox Business Network's Lydia Hugh has more from New Jersey.
It's a $500 billion criminal enterprise. Counterfeit goods being shipped into the country on board planes and ships, most of them originating from China and throughout Asia. Customs and Border Protection officers work at ports like this one here in Newark, New Jersey, intercepting millions of these shipments every year. Last year, they seized enough goods that had they been genuine, they would have been worth $1.3 billion. We're talking about fake designer bags, clothing, sporting goods, and electronics like AirPods and jewelry. Now, with the pandemic last year, counterfeit COVID-related items surged. Everything from fake N95s, hand sanitizer, even fake COVID tests, which could have deadly consequences for Americans.
I would say that the problem is an ongoing one. The challenge has somewhat increased with this the explosion of e-commerce and small packages. Counterfeits have always been an issue, but it's particularly challenging in this small package e-commerce environment just because of so many separate packages that come in.
Federal officers use an automated system to detect suspicious cargo. When the shipments arrive, they examine packages and decide whether to open them. A new partnership with the Chamber of Commerce and retailers helps officers quickly identify fake products. This is the ongoing work to quash this criminal enterprise. The selling and buying of counterfeit products hurts the U.S. economy, is responsible for killing 750,000 American jobs, and supports criminal activity abroad. In Newark, New Jersey, Lydia Hu, Fox Business.
Gonna check out this week's rundown of entertainment right here on Fox when we come back. A special Father's Day Beat Shazam, a fellow Fox star guest stars on Lego Masters, and more. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin with a look at the TV lineup this week.
From Lego inventions to culinary creations, here's what's hot on Fox.
Oh my Lord.
Monday, the chefs on Hell's Kitchen Young Guns replicate the very first challenge in Hell's Kitchen history.
Wow!
Then Anna Dom Monday brings a new episode of Housebroken, with a new member joining the group.
We always tell her popularity doesn't matter.
We both know that's not true. And on Duncanville, Kimberly goes party crashing while Duncan and friends work on going viral.
Get your brick on!
Tuesday kicks off with Lego Masters and guest star 911's Jennifer Love Hewitt as builders test the Richter scale with creations built to withstand an earthquake. Then Rob Lowe leads the obstacle course for the mind with more Mental Samurai.
You're a busy man.
Yes, ma'am.
Wednesday, it's the final round of auditions on MasterChef Legends with guest Paula Deen.
I may have a mental breakdown.
That's followed by another challenge on Crime Scene Kitchen and the best dessert detectives continuing on.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to what?
Thursday, it's father-daughter fun on Beat Shazam. Jamie and Corinne Fox lead teams of fathers and daughters competing for the chance of winning up to $1 million.
Bum, bum, bum.
The night rounds out with a replay of Lego Masters for the Lego enthusiasts in the family. Fox Sports brings the action-packed WWE Friday Night SmackDown. And over the weekend, Animation Domination Sunday includes the series finale of Bless the Hearts. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
That's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with video of animals over at the Brookfield Zoo just outside of Chicago getting a bath for International Bath Day. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. I like this guy right here. See you then.